The next question I want is for Ms Graham in the NTA. Ms Graham, in more recent times, the X12, the Limerick to Dublin expressway route, which stopped in Nenagh, Roscrea and also into Portlaoise, and stopped in UL and in many locations along outside the city, along Cashel Troy. That route has been discontinued from the 29th of January. I have two questions. Number one, when you wrote back to the committee here and to my good self and my capacity as a TD for Limerick City constituency, you stated that there was sufficient service along the route. Yet when I look at the route, I find that the only other providers, and be it providing a very good service, are JJ Cavan, going into Roscrea, Nenagh and Portlaoise. No, the other providers, that's not happening. They're doing a direct route. So, and the second part of my question is, would you not have asked Bus Eireann to defer their decisions on any route, expressway route, until post-COVID? Certainly Cork and Galway have been deferred until their continued run, albeit at a reduced scale, and with that's COVID obviously COVID has to be factored in. Can you just answer me that quick?
Well, first of all, just to make clear that the decision of Bus Eireann is a commercial decision that they made. This is related to their expressway services, which are operated on a commercial basis. And they made a decision to alter and withdraw certain services. They made the decision in September, and they've now implemented those across a number of services. And that did include the X12. And I suppose the role of the authority is then to assess the services that remain and assess whether there's a public service obligation to put in additional services associated in the towns that have got a reduced service or no service at all. So in the assessment that we've carried out, we've assessed that along the X12 route, including in Nenagh, Roscrea, Portlaoise, that there is sufficient services remaining that serve those towns, such that there isn't an obligation, a public service obligation, for us to put in additional services. In the case of the other routes, in terms of the X20 and the X8, we determined that there were locations that would have a public service obligation, that there remained a public service obligation. And in that case, we asked Bus Eireann to retain a smaller number of services on those routes to fulfil the public service obligation until such time as there is either another operator operating on a commercial basis, or we're in a position to tender out a number of services to provide the alternative, which will be the case possibly in the X8. But for the X12, our assessment is that the remaining services fulfil the public service obligation in relation to services. It's not the service level that was in place before Expressway put out, but it certainly means that the towns remain served in terms of their
And Ms Graham, in that context, could I ask that you keep it under review and certainly look at it, because certainly that might completely change post-COVID. So will you give that commitment?
That's true. We will always have to continue to keep that under review, because there could be other commercial decisions made by other operators which would impact on that. So this is the situation that applies now, but obviously we would continue to keep that under review.
And Deputy Michael Lowry, you have 7 minutes.
Okay, the areas of policy, strategy and planning have been covered, so I'm going to revert to what I'm probably best at, which has been parochial. And could I ask first of all, could I ask Ms Graham there, you covered the X12 route, the Bus Eireann expressway route, and we're obviously concerned in Tipperary with the X8 to a great extent, because Bus Eireann, despite a lot of pressure from a lot of public representatives, have said that it's not a commercial route from them. That's from Cork to Dublin, and it's central to the service in Cashel. And Cashel, as you know, is a heritage town. It has the Rock of Cashel. It's frequented by visitors, and it's a major disadvantage to us to have that route, that stop in Cashel, taken from us. So could I ask you to explain how are you going to proceed to give us an adequate service on that route in the absence of Bus Eireann?
Thank you, Chairman. Deputy. In relation to the Dublin-Cork route, the X8, we have done an assessment as well, as I outlined, for the X12. And in the case of the towns that you mentioned, Cashel, Cahir, Mitchelstown, Fermoy, we have assessed that there is a public service obligation to provide additional services once the expressway service has pulled out. So the way we are approaching that is we have engaged Bus Eireann to operate 4 services per day under the emergency direct ward contract that we have in place with them and with other operators to support their commercial services. So we're proposing to fund 4 services per day in each direction under the emergency direct ward, and obviously we'll continue to assess those to see what is the demand as we come out of our current restrictions as well. So that's our immediate plan, is 4 services a day, which are operating now since Saturday. Between Dublin and Cork, serving Cashel, Cahir, Mitchelstown. It's along the alignment of the former X8, the X8 serving the towns that the alignments that it served before, but it's reduced down to 4 services per day per direction.
Thank you.